All you, go right ahead.
All right, guys. So while we call this the mortgage strategies call, we're actually thinking about changing the name and just calling this Mortgage Coach Black Belt Training, because that's what you guys are here to do. Just how to be a black belt. Now, to be a Mortgage Coach Black Belt, it's a combination of repetitions, like how many times have you created a total cost analysis? And like you said, if you're new to Mortgage Coach and you're like, what's a total cost analysis? We also call it a TCA for total cost analysis. It's where you're showing options. It's where you're showing the cost of a loan over time, and you're showing different strategies. Like, hey, what if you did the refi, but you took the savings and you prepaid the mortgage? That's a strategy. What if you took the savings and you invested it with your financial planner? How much faster can you pay off your mortgage? Those are strategies. So take a picture of this. This is something that you may even want to print and put in your workspace as you're learning to be a black belt at Mortgage Coach, because that's what this call is all about. We want to help you be a black belt. That means you need to know how to deliver options, cost over time, and strategies. These are the three essentials to not only making a good mortgage decision, but to being a Mortgage Coach black belt. So I wanted to get that out there and kick things off, just so everybody's clear on the path to success. And this is built into our advice engine. And Brian will show you how to keep track of where you're at and what's next. But it looks like everybody on this call is a white belt. You've done less than 20 TCAs. Once you do it, Mortgage Coach 20 times, you'll be an orange belt. Guys, you could do it in a week. You could do it in a day. Most people do it within 2 weeks. If the longer it takes you to do it, the more you're pushing out the struggle of change. Once you've become an orange belt, you know how to use Mortgage Coach. Now it's just getting faster and learning to do it in more ways. So all the strategies that we teach in this class are right here. So these are the 12 strategies that we teach. Brian, you probably cover strategies that aren't on this list, because there are other strategies like a counter offer analysis. Someone made an offer to buy a house. They're going to have to make a bigger offer to pay. And you do a TCA to look at the short-term and long-term impact of that. That's not on this list. Although a cost of waiting analysis, if you know how to do a cost of waiting analysis, you know how to do a counter offer analysis. It would be a good idea right now to let Brian know, what do you want to learn first? I think it's still a pretty heavy refi market. So if you don't know how to do the Mortgage Coach rate and term refi and invest the difference, that's like, in this marketplace, everybody should know how to do that. If you don't know how to do pre-approval options, so that you can at least understand how to use Mortgage Coach with pre-approvals on purchase business, that's important. Rent versus own is super important. I mean, all of these are super important, but those are the 12 strategies. Take a picture of that. I do think we put a recording of this available to you guys, but every single Wednesday, 11 o'clock Pacific, think of it as, I am getting trained to be a black belt Mortgage Coach. I just need to do 300 TCAs, and I need to know how to do all 12 of those things. And then you're a black belt. The highest honor at Mortgage Coach land is 1,000. And we call those folks red belt grandmasters at Mortgage Coach. And we've got loan officers that have done over 7,000 TCAs. So they're grandmaster times 7. If you have questions, put them in chat. And yeah, Brian, it looks like everybody is a white belt. So I'll let you take it from here, brother.
All right, perfect. Thanks, Dave. Let me go ahead and share my screen. And what I'd like to do.
I'm going to jump off, guys. I might come back, but good luck. You are in good hands with Brian.
All right, thanks, Dave. All right, so one of the things that Dave shared with you was the slide there. And he said, take a picture of it, the 3 essentials of making a smart mortgage decision. And I've actually placed, to make it even easier for you guys, so that you don't have to try and grab a slide or grab a snapshot of it. If you look in the chat area, there's 2 actual links that I provided you with. One of them is the 3 essentials of making a smart mortgage decision. And can you confirm with a show of hands that you are in fact seeing that on your screen right now? I just want to make sure that I'm sharing the correct screen. Okay, thanks, Tiffany, I appreciate it. Okay, so the link to that is in there. And what I would recommend is, like Dave said, I mean, just keep that handy when you're building a mortgage coach presentation. And you want to try and incorporate all three of those when you provide a mortgage coach presentation to one of your clients. You always want to provide them options, because if you only provide a single option for them to be looking at, you're basically you're putting them in a corner, and they can only respond in one of two ways. Yes, they like the loan that you're presenting to them, or no. So it's kind of like a 50-50 chance, right? When you provide options, it gives you the opportunity to have more dialogue with the client. You know, you're presenting this one, you talk about the features, the benefits of that particular option, comparing it to the other one. You get the feedback from the client, you know, live time while you're working with them, and be able to make adjustments. I'm going to show you how to do that here in just a second. What I'm also going to do is launch a poll right now, because I want to make sure that we're covering. Dave showed you a slide with about 12 different strategies, and I want to make sure that I cover the ones that are going to be the most meaningful to you. I mean, you've chosen to come to this workshop to learn how to share a mortgage coach presentation, how to utilize a mortgage coach presentation to connect with your clients, right? So I want to make sure that I'm helping you work with the strategies that are going to be most meaningful for you. So I'm going to go ahead and push a poll right now to everybody. And in that poll, it'll also, there's the first question, you know, where you're at with your mortgage coach presentations. You know, how many have you built? So Dave mentioned that he felt like most of you were white belts, 20 presentations or less. When you respond to that poll question, it helps me kind of make sure that I'm presenting the workshop to the appropriate audience. So if you could go ahead, enter the number of presentations that you built, and then also help me to help you folks, what strategies that I've got in the poll question are going to be the most beneficial to you. So just take a moment, go ahead and fill that out. I know how many people are in the workshop, and you know, I'm only going to be as effective as you allow me to help you. So I need to get a response from at least, you know, 60-70% of you to help me on track for what type of, you know, feedback that I should, or content that I should based upon your feedback. So I'm going to let it fill. We get at least 60% participation. So I need probably about 3 or 4 more of you to just take a quick look at the screen, identify which strategies that are going to be most beneficial to you. Now while we're waiting for that, I'm also going to show you, you know, options are pretty easy when you're presenting it to your client. Analyzing the total cost over time, that involves or requires you to ask the right questions of your client, right? You want to make sure that you're incorporating that in your interview with your client. You know, what are your goals? Where do you see yourself with your home in 3, 4, 5 years from now? Is this your forever home? Asking the right questions will help you paint the picture, the most effective picture for your clients to see. Item or essential number 3 there, analyzing the strategies to reduce debt costs. Debt costs could be reducing how much interest that they pay on the mortgage that you're providing by making an extra payment towards principal reduction. Looking at their overall debt situation and looking for ways to help them, maybe with a cash out refinance. So asking the right questions will help you paint the picture. All right, great. We've got almost 100% participation in the poll. You've actually confirmed what Dave was thinking. We do have a couple orange belts, so a couple people that have built more than 20 presentations. And let's see here. Wow, it's kind of overwhelming. The types of presentations that you want. So first off, it looks like refinance looks like the top strategy, followed by a points versus no points. I can actually incorporate that into the refinance. So we can take care of those 2 strategies in 2 with 1, right? Kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Take care of that one. And then it looks like we also want to look at a rent versus own presentation for a lot of first-time home buyers. Okay. All right. So this is one slide that you want to make sure that you click on the link. And what you may want to do is just maybe build a mortgage coach folder on your desktop and just start dropping different resources in there. Here's another one that I placed in there just so that you could see what it looks like. This is how to read your total cost analysis presentation. So within the total cost analysis presentation, there's different areas, there's different analysis areas, and I'm going to walk you through those while I share with you different strategies. But this slide will allow you in a graphic format to be able to take a deeper dive and recognize the different analysis areas and the different types of conversations that you can use those analysis areas with your clients. So make sure that you get both of these. Again, they're in the chat area for you to look for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with the refinance strategy, incorporate a points versus no points strategy in that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to transition to a rent versus own presentation as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to focus, this particular workshop is designed to focus on the strategy, share with you the why it's going to help you with your clients, show you how to present with your clients. But it's not going to take a real deep dive into, say, the nuts and bolts of how you build a mortgage coach presentation. So for those of you that are looking for, how to build step by step a mortgage coach presentation, what you're going to be looking for would be to jump into one of our intro to mortgage coach workshops. And if you go to our website here, if you go to lender services and go to calendar, we host with a live trainer, just like what we're doing today, every Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific time. So every Monday, 9 a.m. Pacific time, there's an intro to mortgage coach workshop. And let's see here. There is the link right there. So again, this is on our website, lender services calendar, intro to mortgage coach every 9 a.m. Then of course we have the mortgage coach strategies call. Content varies based upon what strategies that you want to cover. So next Wednesday, it might be something different. It really depends on, what the audience wants. Every Thursday, for those of you that may be having difficulty, you've got a question, you're looking, for an answer on how to do something specific. Here again, on Thursdays at 9 a.m., we make a live trainer available for you, and they have a QA session. That trainer, by the way, wants your questions. They're kind of just sitting there waiting for you to ask questions that allow them to, content to present. So please bring your questions to that particular workshop. Help that trainer out. Let's see here. Okay, you want the links again? Let me make sure that goes in. Drop them in there one more time. Okay, so here are the links to those two slides that I shared with you earlier. There they are again. There you go. Okay, so let's dive in now and let's work on that refi strategy first. So let's go ahead. I'm going to click on this link. I think this is the one that I wanted to show. Yes, actually, it's not. Let me find this one. I've got several presentations teed up here based upon what you may want. So let me find the one that I'm looking for here. All right, I'm going to go in the advice engine and find it here. For those of you that might be seeing the Mortgage Coach advice engine for the very first time, we do recommend to log into it. Once you get your membership, for those of you that are already members, the website address is ae.mortgagecoach.com. Recommend Chrome as your preferred browser. And then of course you enter your email, password here. If you've forgotten what your password is, you can click on that link and we can get you up and running real quickly with the forgot password. Also encourage you to put color in this box just so that you don't have to do that every single time. to get into the advice engine. That's what AE stands for, advice engine. And then once you open it up, you're going to land right here. And let me find the presentation that I'm looking for here. I've actually got quite a few folders in my database here that we use for training. Let's see here. I think this is the one that I want to use. Let me open it up here. Okay. All right. So it has, oh, I think I let somebody use my account and they made one change. Okay. All right, let's take a look at the presentation here then. So here it is. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the link to this presentation and I'm going to put it in the chat area for you. And the reason that I want to do that is, first off, I want to make sure that you have access to this presentation in the event that you see something that you like, that you would like to use this as an example and build it so that you could share a presentation that's similar to your client. So this is the link that you send to your client when you want to provide them access to your mortgage coach presentation. This link can be sent either via email or text. If you've downloaded the Mortgage Coach app to your mobile device, you can actually text the presentation to your borrower as well. So I'm going to take the link to this and I'm going to put it in the chat area for you. And what I'd like you to do, like I said, is to click on that link so that you have an example. If you like the content, again, you'll be able to use that with your clients. The other thing is that I want you to experience this particular way of presenting a mortgage plan to your clients. Utilize what we call Mortgage Coach Live. So one of the things that that happens when the client clicks on the link, just like I placed it in the chat area there, when your borrower clicks on that link, you're going to get a notification sent to your email that the presentation has just been accessed. And if you take a look up here in the top right-hand corner, see where it says Views 1? So out of everybody in the workshop, only one person has clicked on that link so far. I've got to get more people to click on the link than one person in the workshop. So please look at the chat area and click on that link that's there. I think you'll appreciate it after you see what I'm going to walk you through here. So it's going to be helpful for you to click on that link. So I'm going to pause here for a second and let more people click on the link that's in the chat area. The other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the alert notification that gets triggered when your borrower actually clicks on that, that link. So I'm going to bring that over. Okay, so if you look at it, this is what you folks just triggered. So by all you people clicking on that link, it triggers the alert notification and it goes into your email inbox. And if you've also got the Mortgage Coach app downloaded to your mobile device, it'll alert you there as well. That could be very helpful. First off, you know for a fact that you sent the presentation to the borrower and the borrowers actually viewed the presentation. Think about that for a second, because do you know when you send an email to your borrower with maybe a detailed explanation of the loan options that you're presenting to them, do you know if they ever read it? If you send an attachment, a PDF loan summary attachment, are you going to get confirmation that they've read it? If you send them an Excel spreadsheet, are you going to get confirmation that they even looked at it? No, right? This way you will know that they viewed your Mortgage Coach presentation. And that can also be helpful for you in that maybe you've been having a difficult time being able to connect with that borrower. You've been calling them, they've been calling you, you've been playing phone tag. When you get that alert notification, it could be a great opportunity for you to give them a call. I can't guarantee that they're going to pick up the phone, but you know that they're viewing it, and they may very well be still viewing it when you give them that call. Okay, so it looks like right now I've got about 5 of you that have clicked on that. Okay, that's a good start. Okay. Oh, one other thing. When you go to send the presentation to your client, let me just give you a tip, if you will. So you take the link and you put it into, like, say I'm going to email it to a borrower. And let me show you where you would go to send the presentation to your client. So this is the Mortgage Coach Advice Engine. This is a preview of the presentation that the borrower receives. So to send it to the borrower, what you do is you can see this navigation panel. I'm going to click on presentation. I'm going to click on preview. And then this is where I click on right here, this button where it says generate share link. When I generate that share link, see how it ends in the same. Each link is unique to the presentation that you produced. Each link has its separate code that you send to the client. So you can see I came to presentation, preview, click generate share link. And then what I would do is I would take this link and I would place it into the body of an email and then send it off to the client. So I could paste it right there. And you might be looking at that and go, that looks kind of computerish. I don't know if I should click on that or not. So what you could do is you can say personalize it. I'd recommend personalizing it and making it special for your borrower. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to type in, maybe my borrower's last name is Smith, Smith Family Mortgage Plan. This is an Outlook. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type out the text that I want to utilize. I'm going to highlight it, right click, and right down here, see where it says hyperlink? Click on that, and then that's where, right where it says address, if you put the Mortgage Coach presentation link right there and click OK, what you've done is you've created a hyperlink that is personalized. So your borrower wouldn't have to click on this anymore. All they would do is they would click on that, and then it's going to populate the presentation. Personalization will most likely increase the conversion on getting clicks on that link. So I'd recommend, personalizing it, making it special for the borrower to increase your success in having them click on the link. And then once they click on the link, you'll get that alert notification. And I'm going to come back over here and I'll point out one other thing here. See the client? This will take you back to the board. See the recent views tab right here. So if you click on that, this is the Mortgage Coach dashboard. I can see, I could probably, those of you that are orange belts in the workshop, those of you that are orange belts, I could probably pop into your account, look at the number of views of the presentations that you provided your clients. And I bet I could pick out which borrowers are probably in your pipeline just by the amount of views that you'll see. So when you have a borrower that's viewed your presentation multiple times, that's a high level of engagement. They're interested in looking at the presentation that you provided. That's also somebody that you definitely want to spend more time with, right? Because if they're engaged, it gives you the opportunity to, answer their questions, make sure that you're providing them with the loan options, and then convert. So let me go ahead and come back over here to the client section. I'm going to open up that link and let's walk you through it here. So you can see right now in my presentation, there's the borrower's current loan in comparison to 3 product options. So I'm going to begin the presentation by reviewing just the details of the current loan. So what you'll notice is that each product option that I have available to present to my borrower appears here. And by adding color, to that box will either make it appear or disappear from the view of the borrower. So you folks now are probably only seeing the current loan, right? You're only seeing the current loan. You're not seeing those 4 product options. So I can begin the conversation with my client in consulting them with reviewing the details of their current loan just to make sure that I've got everything correct. Now, the way that you would use the way that I'm presenting right now is that you would send that link to the borrower just prior to maybe having an appointment with them. So when you're going to present your loan options, let's say you have an appointment at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Just before 3 o'clock, before you either call them or have them join a webinar, whatever webinar format that you're utilizing, just before that, send them the link, because you don't want them reviewing the presentation, if at all possible. I know there's some borrowers that you're not going to be able to connect with and get them on the phone at the same time or get them in a webinar. But if at all possible, try to have them present and utilize this feature that I'm going to show you, the live reporting, because it will help you with your conversion. You're going to create more clarity with your borrower. You're going to be able to get their feedback and make sure that you're providing them with the product options that they're most interested in. So to confirm the details of their current loan, maybe what I do is I'd start off by highlighting the entire product or their entire current loan by clicking on the title there. So once I click on this, it not only highlights on my screen, but for the 6 of you that have clicked on it, it will also be highlighting on your screen. I can drill down to specific details to confirm everything's accurate, like your interest rate is 4.25. Is that correct, Mr. and Mrs. Borrower? This is the monthly payments that you're currently making at this time. And that does appear to include both your property taxes and your hazard insurance. Are those figures all correct? You get the yes, those are correct. Okay, well, let's look at a couple product options that I have for you. Let's begin with this first option. And then what I'll do is I'll come in and I'll put color in this particular square, go to next, and then now my first loan option will appear on the presentation. I'll confirm that they are in fact seeing that particular loan option. And then again, I can highlight the entire product or go to specific areas within the presentation or within this particular product option. So Mr. and Mrs. Borrower, great news for you. We're going to be able to reduce your interest rate. You can see down from 4.25% to 3.375%. This is what your new all-in monthly payment would look like. It does include the taxes and insurance, just like your current one, and produce a savings to you of about $210.01. You can see it both here numerically and over here in the graph in this top analysis area. Okay, so you presented the first option, you've thrown it out there, and you get their feedback, all right? They come back to you, go, well, why are we talking about a rate of 3.375%? Why am I seeing all these advertisements about, record lows, rates in the twos? Let's take a look, let's take a look. And this is where points versus no points come into play. You can provide them, like this one obviously is probably, it's a higher rate, lower costs, no points to get that particular rate. Now what we can do is we can give them an option. Remember on that slide that I talk about essentials, 3 essentials of making a smart mortgage decision? We're going to provide them another option that allows them to pay some points, get the rate that they may be more inclined to want to move forward on. It allows me to not paint them in a corner by providing them that single option and then having them say either yes or no, and then that's where it stops, right? This allows you to open up and provide another option for more dialogue, and it keeps you in the game in the event that you're not meeting your borrower's expectations, or you might be getting rate shopped, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into the presentation. I'm going to provide a secondary option. You can see here it's cash flow option 2. So once I click on it, now I can go ahead it'll populate here in just a second. I'll confirm with the borrower. Are you seeing the second cash flow option? This is in fact a rate at 2.875%. You can see the additional savings that's going to provide you. It looks like about $62.08. But you'll also notice, right? Here's their loan amount without the points. Here's the loan amount with points. So everything's incorporated in the loan so that they're coming zero out of pocket. They do pay, of course, additional costs to get that lower monthly payment, that lower interest rate. Okay. So options are a key. Now, here's the next question or the next essential. After you've had a conversation with the client, take into consideration the timeline that they're going to be in the house. And that's where you can utilize this middle analysis area here. Anybody have an idea? If you take a look, see where it says savings over 17 months? Why would I show a time horizon of 17 months to the borrower? What's the significance of 17 months? Anybody have an idea on that? I'm just taking a quick look over here at the chat area and see if anybody has any thoughts on it. What's the significance of 17 months for this refinance client? Specifically for option number, or the cash flow option number 1. You nailed it, Tori. Good job. Yeah, exactly. That's the break-even point. How many of you in the workshop now are having conversations with your clients about the break-even point? Is anybody doing that? Raise your hand. I'm curious. With a show of hands, how many of you have conversations with your borrower about the break-even point? Okay, so there's a few of you. So I just want to show you how you can incorporate that into a strategy so that you can pinpoint the exact month that break-even point occurs. So if your borrower just, and this is something that you could do as well, by just letting your cursor drift into those different areas, it's going to have a pop-up that occurs, and I'll show the content that's being represented in that particular analysis area. So see how that pop-up occurs over here? So when you click on the more info button over here, what that's taking into account is this is the amount of interest that the borrower is going to pay on their current loan in the next 17 months, $19,357. With the cash flow option, because it's a lower interest rate, they're going to pay less interest in the next 17 months if they move forward on that loan. Of course, it does require them to pay cost to get the new loan. When you take into account the interest paid plus the cost that they're going to pay in that 17 months, you can see that it is lower by about 86 months, occurring right at that 17th month. Now you can see the closing costs are significantly more on that cash flow option 2 in order to get that lower interest rate. So this gives you the ability to paint the picture with your client, have a conversation with them, and just confirm that they will in fact be in the house long enough to get the benefit of paying less interest while they're actually in the house. So if they have a really short time horizon, it may not make sense. The longer they're in the house, then they get the benefit. That's where you could use this long-term analysis area here. See how it's showing net worth right now? You're probably not going to want to have a conversation at this point about net worth with this borrower. They're probably more focused on long-term interest saved, right? So I'm going to go back into the advice engine. I'm going to make an adjustment on that analysis. So right in the analysis area here, see where it says long-term chart type? I'm going to change that from net worth to interest in MI. This loan doesn't have any MI, but the graph has been refreshed. And now we'll take a look at the presentation. So this will show the amount of interest. I think I put 30 years in there. We'll let it refresh. I'll take a moment. It'll show the amount of interest that they're going to pay in the next 30 years. And then you'll be able to illustrate it to them if you're going to be in the house a long period of time, it may make sense for you to pay some points up front to, that prepaid interest to be able to get the benefit of saving money long term. To speed things up here, I'm just going to click on the more info button here. And you know what? It's still not, I can still see it's performing the calculation here. See how it's still spinning there? I just got to give it a little bit of time. I'm giving it fast. My computer is a little bit slow, so I apologize for that. There it goes. Okay. Interest in MI. Oh, long-term. I got to change it to 30 years. I'm sorry. So long-term analysis, 30 years. There we go. So now in the presentation, it should update. And I think I'm just going to do, there it goes. Okay. All right. So here again, graphically down here, you could point out to them that, it's definitely going to benefit you to refinance with either option. The slightly higher rate will save you the difference between 227 and 195. What is that? About $32,000 in interest over the next 30 years. Whereas if you do pay the additional points to get that lower interest rate at 2.875, that's going to save you, what is that? 34 plus 27, about $65,000 in interest over the life of the loan. So when you start having conversations over here by the pictures that you're pointing, so you're not only painting the picture, but you're also telling and working on your scripting, how you want to work that into the conversation. Painting the picture over here will help you transition away from the details over here that are very, say, transactional. If you limit yourself to only having conversations with your client about the area, the content and the summary area over here, you're keeping yourself on the same playing field as your competition and strictly talking about, rates, fees, costs. You want to try and transition the conversation to the bigger picture to help your borrower see that picture. And when you do, you create a star moment with your client. The acronym STAR, S-T-A-R, you're showing them something that they'll always remember you for. And that's a way of being able to separate yourself from your competition. And the more STAR moments that you create with your client, the easier it is to build more trust. You take on a different role from being somebody that's very transaction oriented, rates and fees, to that of an advisor. And it'll help you with your conversion. It's not going to stop somebody from rate shopping you. There's no magic bullet or special pill that'll make that happen, but it will decrease that. It'll decrease that because of so much value that you're adding to the conversations that you're having with your clients. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so how would you make adjustments to, say your borrower was interested in the cash flow option 2? How would you make adjustments to illustrate the break-even point for them? I'm just going to go ahead and go into the advice engine over here, and I'll go in the analysis. So looking right here, see what it says savings over 17 months. What I want to do is I want to try and determine what the break-even point for my borrower would be here for cash flow option 2. That, by the way, is if you are in fact being rate shopped, ask your borrower for the total cost analysis presentation that your competition provided them. Ask them for the total cost analysis presentation that your competition has provided them, because what you'd like to do is put them side by side on a single presentation to be able to make a comparison. When you ask them for the total cost analysis presentation that your competition provided them, what do you think their response is going to be? They didn't give me one. They told me what my rate and fees would be over the telephone, and it took them about 5 minutes to get that information from me. Right? They're not, most likely not going to provide them with the total cost analysis presentation. So if you wanted to take it a step further, you can ask for the loan estimate, and then you could even put the loan estimate by your competition into Mortgage Coach and do a side-by-side comparison and see if there are some advantages that you're able to provide that your competition is not capable of providing. But to make adjustments here in the savings over analysis area, you can see it currently 17 months here. So let's just put some additional time in there. Let's look at 30 months and see if that will give the borrower an opportunity. Okay, so not quite yet. You can see that it's just in the red there. I bet if we go to 31 or 32, they'll go from being in the red to the green. There we go. So at the 31st month, that's when their break-even point would occur on the second loan. And let's say this borrower, they know that they're going to be in this house, this is, say, a good 10 years. So then what you could do is you can change the long-term chart to say 10 years, and then have the conversation with your client and show them that based upon cash flow option 2, your break-even point's 31 months. If you're going to be in the house in, say, you have a 10-year time horizon, and again, I'm just waiting for this update, you'll be able to paint that picture for them. Okay, how much are they going to save based upon the time that they're going to be in the house? I mean, obviously, a good amount of money. It's much more better for them to do some type of action and not miss the opportunity to refinance, because look at all that interest there. And it looks like about $14,000 in 10 years. So let's say the borrower is in fact looking to go ahead and move forward with the cash flow option 2. They think it's the best fit. They made the decision. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and remove the first option because it's creating noise. Once you get the borrower to agree and you're going down a road, you want to remove any distractions. So I'm going to remove the cash flow option 1. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the second option. Here's another strategy that you can use for your refinance clients. Show them that if they were to refinance and take advantage of the lower interest rate, so they're going to go ahead and do the cash flow option 2. It looks like I have to make some adjustments on my same payment, and I'll just do that real quick. I'll put in my rate at 2.875. So show them that if they make, and you'll see this rate adjust here in just a second. If they make the same payments that they're currently making now, it looks like their current payments $22.60. I need to increase the amount that they're making towards that payment there. Let me go ahead and do that. I'm going to make that adjustment, by the way, here in the analysis area. I'm going to utilize this button right here where it says adjust reinvestment strategy. So you can see we're spending a lot of time in that analysis area, right? That's where you're kind of utilizing this area to paint all kinds of different pictures with your borrowers. I encourage you on your journey, on your path to becoming a Mortgage Coach Black Belt, to become very familiar with that analysis area within the Mortgage Coach Advice Engine. So you can see that their current payment right now is $23.2260. If they take advantage of the cash flow option 2, they're going to be saving about $310 over the current loan. So I'm going to show them that, let's be smart. Let's see if you make that same payment that you're currently making now. I'm going to take that $310 in savings, and I'm going to put it in this area right here. I'm going to tab out of it, and let's see what that's going to accomplish for the borrower. Okay, so $310 is entered here. You can see that it'll take the term of their loan and basically make that a 22.42 year loan, which is exactly 5 years off the life of their current loan. So it's smarter for you, if it's possible, to make the same payment that you're currently making now that you're comfortable with apply that $310 towards principal reduction. And what you're going to be able to accomplish is have not a 27.5-year loan. It takes it down to 22.42 years. And then again, look at the presentation now. I made all those changes. You'll be able to see here interest in 10 years. I'll let that adjust here in just a moment, but that's going to significantly decrease the amount of interest that they're going to pay. So they're making a smarter decision. They're getting that mortgage to work harder for them rather than, you know, keeping their existing loan and paying all that additional interest to the bank. Does that make sense? So I would incorporate, if at all possible, every time that you provide the borrower with a refinance option, give them that additional value by showing them, you know, if you make the same payment that you've been making on your existing loan, look what that'll do for you at the new, with the new lower interest rate loan as well. This is also helpful for purchase transactions. How many of you today, right now, get the question, if I make an extra $50 towards my mortgage payment, an extra $100 towards my mortgage payment, how will that help me pay less interest? How will that help me get the loan paid off more quickly? You guys get that question with the show of hands? How many of you get that question? Curious. Nobody's gotten that question? Wow. Okay. Tori says she did. Okay. So yeah, I mean, now you can not only show or not only tell them, but you can also, I'm going to expedite the process here, and I'm going to do another preview so it updates a little bit more faster here. And then we have the graph to be able to show them there. So let me get rid of this. I'll populate the preview. It might already be showing on your screen. I just wanted to show on my screen as well. Okay, so now you're looking at the same options. And there we go. Needs to stretch out here a little bit. But right down here, okay? So see where it says same payments? So this will show them the same payment that they'd be making here. And what is that? 22, that's gonna mean $50,000 in interest, and they'll get the loan paid off, 5 years sooner than what they would be able to do here. If you click up here in the more info button, this also shows the reinvestment strategy. And this is where you could direct them to where they would make that additional, or how they would make that additional payment towards principal reduction. That's helpful, especially for the borrower. They're not married to having a 22.5-year mortgage. If something happens and they need to utilize that extra cash flow for another purpose, you're pointing it to them, you're giving them the advice, adding extra value, and it's up to them to, continue on that road if at all possible. Okay, now there is another option here as well that you can provide the client, and showing them what they can do with that savings. So what I'm going to do in this one is I'm going to add this particular product option, which is labeled investment, and I'll get rid of same payment now. And with the investment, what you're doing, I'm going to go in the analysis area here, and I'm going to show you in the adjust reinvestment strategy button. So here's the investment column here. And what you're doing is you're taking the savings that they're recognizing from either one of the options. It looks like I compared it to cash flow option 1 here. See, the savings is $210.01. Well, what they're going to do is they're going to take the $210.01 and put it into an investment account. And with a rate of return of, say, 6% over 10 years, that's going to produce a balance of over $34,000. So this is another way that you can paint the picture, add extra value to your client, and show them that let's look at, if you were to take that money and put it into an investment account, how that can help you grow your net worth over the time frame that you're going to be in the house. And let me show you what that looks like on the presentation here. So let me go ahead and come over here. So we have investments, and that was cash flow option 1. So I'm going to just go ahead and make sure everything's correct. I'll go cash flow option 1, get rid of 2, let the system update. So it's going to compare cash flow option 1 to investment. There it goes. And their current loan. And then this is a picture. So here again, interest in 10 years? No, you're not going to want to show them interest in 10 years. You're going to want to show them net worth. So come over to the analysis area and change the metric to net worth. There you go. And that'll spin for a little bit. And then we'll be able to see on the graph a couple different colors. See how it's got a little bit of gold there? So that's representing the asset portion. That's going to be help them achieve their net worth. And then let's look and see if the graph, the presentation's updated. Not quite just yet, but if you click on the more info button, it'll show the home value, and that's at a 4% property appreciation rate. You can change that in the analysis area as well. It'll show where their loan balance at. So home value minus loan balance plus the investment balance, that equates to what their net worth is right there of 445,521. Anybody working with financial advisors in the workshop? Raise your hand if you're working with a financial advisor or would like to work with a financial advisor. Okay, this gives you the opportunity to get their advice as to what would be an appropriate rate of return to expect for a client. It gives you the opportunity, if you are working with financial advisors, to refer this client to them so that they can offer a particular rate of return if the borrower does not have a financial advisor now. Now, if the borrower does have a financial advisor, it gives you an opportunity to meet their financial advisor and ask them for the appropriate figures to put in there. And then it gives you an opportunity to form that relationship and generate referral business back and forth that way as well. So something to keep in mind as to how you can utilize a mortgage coach presentation like this to work towards forming relationships with financial advisors to be able to mutually refer clients back and forth. Referrals from financial advisors are a great resource. I mean, realtors are your primary, right? But it's great to have some additional resources to get referral business from. All right, so there we go. We took a really, really deep dive into the types of conversations that you can have with your clients on a refi presentation here, this refi strategy, additional ways. There's also one more strategy that is actually brought to us by a top producing mortgage professional by the name of Shayla Gifford. She recently shared this with us. No, I'm sorry. It's Amber Kavarik. Excuse me, Amber Kavarik. This call right here. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, highly encourage you to do that. What Amber explains when she's presenting refi options to her clients, she always also incorporates a product option that incorporates what we call a move-up strategy. Because what she's finding, and she's incorporated this question into the interview that she does with her borrowers when they're talking about a refinance. The question is how is your current home suiting your current lifestyle? How is your home suiting your current lifestyle right now? Because what she's finding is that when she asks that question to 5 people, 1 in 5 responds with, it's really not meeting my current lifestyle right now. And I'm looking at refinancing just as a way of making a smart financial decision. And then what she does is she incorporates and paints the picture for the client as what it would look like if they move up. So she incorporates a move up presentation into the refinance option along with the cash flow. Let me just real quickly show you this. So here's the borrower's current loan. This is what they could take advantage of if they were to refinance. And then this is what they could potentially do in purchasing a new home and moving up from a home that's valued at $450,000 to $525,000. So $75,000 more in value. Well, what is that going to do for the borrower? Is it going to get them a home with maybe the swimming pool in the backyard, in a better school district, a third bedroom for the new family member that is joining, a child or the mother-in-law that's going to be joining the household? This is also a great way to provide referrals to your realtor partners, right? So if you're helping somebody with a refinance and they switch gears and look to do a move up, now they have to sell their existing home and use the equity that they have in their existing home to make that move up purchase. That gives your realtor partner an opportunity to get 2 commissions, right? One for the sale and one for the purchase of the new home. In this case, what Shayla also did is that, Amber, getting mixed up, Amber did, is you'll notice that they have about $125,000 in equity, right? Well, they're not putting the full amount towards the down payment. They're only putting 5%. And the reason that they're putting 5% down is they want to keep money. They want to take some money off the table and put it into an investment account and keep that on the sideline in the event that something happens, that they would want to be able to have those funds available. And the difference in payments, in this case, it's going to increase by $646, is manageable for them because their income has increased over the time. So these are the types of pictures that you can paint for your borrowers by utilizing a mortgage coach presentation, right? You're not going to be able to do this with an email. It would take you, a couple hours to be able to explain all that. Whereas by using a mortgage coach presentation, it helps create that clarity with your borrower, differentiates yourself from your competition, and just helps you convert. All right, we're right at the top of the hour. Any last minute questions before we wrap up for the day? I hope you enjoyed the workshop. I hope, I painted the picture for you folks as to how valuable Mortgage Coach can be for you in helping you be more successful. Any last minute questions before we wrap up? Okay, yeah, so somebody's asking for a link. Let me just confirm that I did in fact have the recording going here. I believe I did. I did, okay. So what I will do is I will, everybody that attended the call, I'll make sure that you get a copy of the recording. So I'm gonna hit stop share and stop the recording. So look for me to follow up with that link. And thanks for joining us. I'll also send those two slides to you as well. All right, have a great day, folks. Have a great week. Take care. Bye-bye.